Imagine this. There were no cities in the world, no civilization, and two human beings were growing up in the middle of a vast desert without even knowing who their parents were. They believed they were the only two humans left in the world.
Soundtrack.
But one day, beyond the mountains,
taiko
they
drum.
saw someone who would completely change their world,
Brass.
and they had
Emotional
no
choir.
idea. This person would one day lead
Middle
their
Eastern
friendship
flute
to a
suspense.
bloody end. They didn't know where they had come from. They didn't know who their parents were. They didn't even know whether they were brothers or simply friends. They only knew one thing. In this vast desert,
Dark
the two of them were together.
Orchestral
Day after
soundtrack.
day, they learned how to survive together.
Powerful
Whenever one
taiko
found
drums.
food, he always saved some for the other. Whenever one was injured, the other would sit beside him.
Emotional choir.
To them, blood relation meant nothing.
Middle
To
Eastern
each of them,
flute suspense.
the other was their entire world.
Disaster atmosphere.
Sometimes, powerful storms would
Intense
tear
but
their shelter
respectful.
apart. Sometimes, there was no
vocals.
food to be found.
Instrumental only.
Sometimes, their eyes would dry from
Hollywood
thirst.
documentary style.
Yet they never gave up, because they knew if they ever abandoned each other, neither of them might survive. Sometimes, powerful storms would tear their shelter apart. Sometimes, there was no food to be found. Time
Dark
passed
cinematic.
without them even realizing it.
Orchestral
The
soundtrack.
two little children slowly grew into young adults.
Powerful taiko
Their
drums.
world was still small. The desert, the mountains,
Deep
and the bond
brass.
they shared.
Emotional choir.
They believed that perhaps in this entire world,
Middle Eastern
they were
flute
the only
suspense.
two human beings left.
Disaster
One day,
atmosphere.
they decided they had to discover what lay
Intense but
beyond the desert.
respectful.
So they began
No
to walk
vocals.
over one mountain after
Instrumental
another,
only.
through one valley after another.
Hollywood
But
documentary
they had
style.
no idea that this journey would change their lives forever. Suddenly, they saw something they could never have imagined. Another human being. But she was not like them. She was a girl. The two of them stared at each other in
Dark
silence.
cinematic.
For the first time,
Orchestral
they realized
soundtrack.
perhaps they were not alone in this
Powerful
world.
taiko
They
drums.
asked her, "Who are you? Is there no one else with you?"
Deep brass.
Luma slowly
Emotional
shook her
choir.
head. She had no mother, no father,
Middle Eastern
no
flute
brothers or
suspense.
sisters. She didn't know where she
Disaster
had come from
atmosphere.
either. She only knew one thing.
Intense but
She
respectful.
had survived alone in
No
this world.
vocals. Instrumental only.
From that day on, there were
Hollywood
three of them.
documentary style.
Two friends and a new companion. They gathered food together. They sat together around the fire. And at night, they would fall asleep beneath the vast, star-filled sky. But within their peaceful little world, something new was slowly beginning to grow. A feeling
Dark
none of them
cinematic.
had ever known before.
Orchestral soundtrack.
Slowly, the same feeling began to grow
Powerful
in
taiko
both of their
drums.
hearts. Aaron fell in love with Luma.
Deep brass.
Kian fell in love
Emotional
with Luma
choir.
too. Deep inside,
Middle
both of them
Eastern flute
thought the same
suspense.
thing. She
Disaster
will be my
atmosphere.
companion. She is the one I
Intense
want
but
to spend the
respectful.
rest of my life with.
No vocals.
One night, sitting beside the
Instrumental
fire,
only.
Aaron said, "Kian,
Hollywood
I love
documentary style.
Kian remained silent for a moment. Then, slowly, he said, "But I love Luma too." At that moment, it felt as if the entire world of the two friends had suddenly come to a standstill. The two who
Dark
once would have given
cinematic.
their lives for each other
Orchestral
had now
soundtrack.
become enemies. Words
Powerful
turned
taiko
into arguments.
drums.
Arguments turned into shoving and fighting.
Deep brass.
And slowly,
Emotional choir.
jealousy began to consume the love and
Middle
friendship
Eastern flute
that had once
suspense.
held them together.
Disaster
The next day,
atmosphere.
Kian seemed to forget everything.
Intense but
He said to
respectful.
Aaron, "Come with me.
No
I want to
vocals.
show you a beautiful place."
Instrumental only.
Aaron trusted his friend
Hollywood
He had no
documentary
idea
style.
that this journey would be the final journey of their friendship. When they reached the top of the mountain, Aaron stopped. Before him was a breathtakingly beautiful world. He turned toward his friend and smiled. But there was no friendship left in
Dark
Kian's eyes.
cinematic.
There was only jealousy.
Orchestral soundtrack.
In a single moment, Kian did something that could
Powerful
never
taiko
be
drums.
undone. He pushed his friend off the edge of the mountain.
Deep brass.
Aaron fell into the
Emotional
abyss
choir.
below. Kian stood there,
Middle
frozen
Eastern
in
flute
silence,
suspense.
as the person who had once been closest
Disaster
to him
atmosphere.
disappeared before his eyes.
Intense but respectful. No vocals. Instrumental
Kian
only.
climbed back down.
Hollywood
thought,
documentary
"Now
style.
Luma will be mine." But when he stood before his friend's lifeless body, his heart began to tremble. He finally realized he hadn't just lost a rival. He had lost the only true friend he had ever had. Kian didn't know what to
Dark
do with the dead.
cinematic.
Death was an unknown
Orchestral
mystery to him.
soundtrack.
He didn't know how to say goodbye to someone who
Powerful
had died.
taiko drums.
He didn't know how to bury him or how to honor his memory.
Deep brass.
And then,
Emotional
suddenly,
choir.
he noticed a crow.
Middle
The
Eastern
crow
flute
began
suspense.
pecking at the ground.
Disaster
Kian watched it for a
atmosphere.
long time. Then
Intense
he
but
looked down at the earth.
respectful. No
Perhaps,
vocals.
to him, this was the
Instrumental
only way to say goodbye to the dead.
Hollywood documentary
With his bare
style.
hands, he began digging into the ground. And he laid his friend to rest beneath the earth. Meanwhile, Luma was waiting. She believed that Aaron and Kian would both return. But the sun slowly disappeared beyond the
Dark
horizon.
cinematic.
Then Kian returned
Orchestral
alone.
soundtrack.
And deep inside Luma's heart, a
Powerful
strange and
taiko drums.
unsettling fear began to grow. Luma rushed
Deep
toward him
brass.
and asked,
Emotional
"Where
choir.
is Aaron?" Kian lowered
Middle
his head
Eastern flute
and said,
suspense.
"He's gone."
Disaster atmosphere.
Luma asked again.
Intense
How?
but respectful.
Kian
No
could no
vocals.
longer hide the truth.
Instrumental
He
only.
looked at her and said,
Hollywood
"I
documentary
pushed him
style.
off the mountain." Luma finally understood. The person she had secretly loved, Aaron, had been killed by Kian with his own hands.
Dark
She could no
cinematic.
longer look at Kian.
Orchestral
Without saying a word,
soundtrack.
she walked away, and
Powerful
Kian was
taiko
left
drums.
standing there, completely alone. For the
Deep
love he had
brass.
killed his friend
Emotional choir.
for, in the end, even that love was no
Middle
longer
Eastern
his.
flute suspense.
The desert
Disaster
fell silent
atmosphere.
once again. And in that silence,
Intense but
Kian
respectful.
finally understood.
No vocals.
Perhaps one of the oldest
Instrumental
emotions in the
only.
human world is love.
Hollywood.
And its
documentary
darkest shadow
style.